Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome into the Techno Tinker. Today we have an Acer Aspire 5 that we're going to be taking the back cover on and kind of exposing the hardware, doing a walkthrough so you can see how to upgrade it and replace parts if that is what you're needing to do. To start with, we have 11 size 1 Phillips screws that we're going to be taking out. Just make sure you set them aside where they don't run off on you. So depending on what configuration you got with the laptop will depend on what yours has on the inside. There's a little bit of expandability on this one. Acer did a fairly good job on the layout of the hardware that makes it accessible to upgrade and replace certain parts. There are definitely far worse ones on the market, but this one's stands out to be pretty good. And it's been a pretty decent laptop overall. And so we'll just keep working our way around. Get these last couple screws out real quick. So then once you get all of the screws out, you're going to take some sort of a pry tool, plastic one, so you don't cause any marks or jarring in the plastic. And you'll find an edge and you'll just kind of work that edge around, popping all of the clips. Sometimes they can be stubborn. But just keep working your way around, kind of lifting up as you find the edges. Until you get it all off, just like that. So now from here, that is the whole layout of the hardware. If you need to replace your battery, mine is an AP19B5L. You'll have two screws you got to take out. One will be here and one will be here, two size 1 Phillipses. For the connector, it'll be this bigger one right here, and it pulls straight out. You'll have to take this tape off the motherboard carefully. Mine did not come with a 2.5-inch SSD, so I added this one in already. If yours did not come with it, you'll have this bracket in here on the outer edge with these 4 screws. And there'll be a little baggie with a piece of tape in it that'll have 4 more screws, and you'll have a connector just sitting right here. So if you were to add one and yours did not come with it, or if you wanted to replace it, it's real easy and doesn't take a whole lot of effort. So you'll take out the 4 screws that have this cage in and lift the cage up very carefully. And then you'll carefully disconnect if yours already had it in. If you didn't, then skip this step, but you'll carefully take out the SATA connector. So if you didn't have the SSD in already, you would have now just this plastic cage with the back plastic sheet on it that it came with, and you'd have a baggie with 4 screws right here, and then you'd have this connector just sitting here. So you'll take your SSD and you'll put the 2 screws in on one side and 2 screws in on the other side to screw it into the SSD. And then you'll take your SATA connector and gently plug it in, and then set it down on the locking guide tabs. And then you will set the 4 screws back in. Oops. And then once you get the 4 screws back in, that'll be everything that you need to do to install your 2.5-inch SSD. If yours doesn't come with 16 gigs of RAM, it only came with 8, then this expansion slot will be empty. It only has 1 expansion slot, some have 2. This one has 8 gigabytes of memory already installed on the motherboard, so it only gives you 1 expansion slot. I already installed, and so I'm running 3200 megahertz on this one. So if you didn't get one and it came empty, that's what it would look like. So you just set it at an angle so all the pins are no longer showing, push it down, and now that's fully seated and installed. If yours didn't have an M.2 SSD, then this would be there would be nothing here, and you'd have an empty connector, and you'd have one screw right here that was just there with nothing connected to it. And so if you wanted to replace it or install one, you'll take out the one Phillips screw, it'll lift up by itself, pull it straight out, and so that's what it would look like if you did not have one. And then to install one, you'd simply slide it in at an angle while it's upwards, and then get the screw ready, because you're going to do two things at once. You're going to push down and then screw it in. And so that is it for the hardware for an Acer Aspire 5. If you didn't buy it brand new, I'd recommend just cleaning out the fan since you have the back cover off already. You can take canned air, blow in on the backside where the fins are, but just kind of blow it out. Just don't spin it too fast. I like to hold the fan to keep it from spinning. You can spin them too fast and damage them. Canned air, that won't be too much of a worry, be more of an air compressor. Do not let this fan spin too fast. So I recommend holding it while you blow it out. Same thing, blow on the backside, and you can generally just kind of blow the electronics out as well. And then now that we're done with that, we will go ahead and put the back cover back on. So we'll gently push all of the clips back in. And once that's all set up, we will put all of the screws back in. It doesn't have any particular order that you put them back in, and like that, if you missed a clip or two, no worries, the screws will pull it tight and clip it all back in with the screws. All the screws are the same length as well, so don't worry about trying to worry about if one screw is longer than the other or where the screws came from. All of the screws are identical, so it doesn't matter which screw goes where. Some of these screws have thread lock on them, the red, some don't. It doesn't make a difference. There's enough left on that you don't need to reapply any. But if this video helped you, or you found this video helpful for anyone else, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification. It really helps me out. Y'all have a safe day, and see you next time.